Welcome in to Do Ball Daily presented by GenJag.com. I'm Jordan Lugo. Thanks for tuning in. All right, folks, we all know why we're here. Shaquille Griffin, Jaguars starting cornerback, outside cornerback playing on the defensive left side, had one of the worst games we've ever seen from any position at any time in the history of the Jaguars franchise on Sunday. And I do not say that lightly. He was absolutely atrocious. Allowed a quarterback rating of 120, was targeted 13 times in primary coverage, allowed 9 completions for over 100 yards, gave up the game-winning touchdown, struggled in run defense. A really, really horrific day for Shaquille Griffin. Do the Jaguars need to consider making some changes in the starting lineup? Specifically at outside corner. That's what we're going to discuss here today. Follow me on YouTube at Jordan DeLugo, Generation Jaguar at Generation Jag. Please like and subscribe on YouTube, and if you want to support the channel further, you can go pick up a new hat, a new shirt, genjag.com. Links in the description below. All right, so the Jaguars signed Shaquille Griffin to a 3-year deal worth $40 million in 2021. His first year in Jacksonville, despite not being able to haul in any of the 4 or 5 potential interceptions he got his hands on, it was a relative success. He played pretty tight coverage. He wasn't getting burned often. He was hard-nosed against the run. He had a quality year for the Jaguars. It wasn't anything to write home about. It wasn't crazy. It wasn't his best year as a pro, but he played at a starting level for a Jaguars defense. No question about it. Was one of the more consistent players for the Jaguars in 2021. But getting into 2022, he's allowing a quarterback rating of 125 in the 5 games he's played this year, 22 completions on 32 targets in primary coverage. That's good for 69%. He's picked up 3 penalties for pass interference. He's allowed 3 touchdowns, allowed 264 yards through the air. You know, he's fought back here with 5 PBUs, but that hasn't been enough to outweigh the bad by a wide margin here. And in 2 of the Jaguars' losses, Washington and most recently to Indy, Shaq was one of the primary culprits of the loss, one of the primary reasons the Jaguars were not able to get over the hump in those 2 contests. So it's clear he should be benched, right? I don't think so. Not yet. Shaquille Griffin, again, played very well for the Jaguars in 2021, and he's played at an average to above average level, in my opinion, in 3 of his 5 starts this year. This is a guy, despite what you saw on Sunday, who has proven throughout his career, 5+ years, that he is a starting quality cornerback in this league. I would not bench Shaquille Griffin prior to a Week 7 matchup against the Giants. He's prideful. He's hardworking. He owned it after the game, which I do respect. And again, we've seen him bounce back in the past. We've seen him play at a much higher level. And talking specifically about the loss to Indy this week and the pass defense, I do put some of the blame on Mike Caldwell for not adjusting the game plan that actually involved the Colts really flooding the middle of the field, running these crossers, slants, curls, all that stuff underneath. That really had very little to do with Shaquille Griffin and his coverage. He just was not playing fundamentally sound football. He wasn't playing with good technique, timing, footwork, hand usage. Most importantly, confidence. He clearly lost his confidence last week. But again, Shaq owned it after that game, and I don't really put Mike Caldwell's issues on Shaquille Griffin. He had one job to do on the outside for most of that game. Tyson Campbell did his job on the other side. Tyson Campbell dominated that football game. Shaq did not. And while I say I would not bench Shaquille Griffin prior to Week 7, prior to this matchup with the Giants, I would have a plan in place for if he plays similarly to what we saw last Sunday, which was, again, historically bad. You cannot let him get picked on that picked on like that ever again for a full game. You can't do it. So what do? Again, going into the contest, I would have a plan in place. If he's starting to get beat up on, if he's starting to get bullied, I would not hesitate to use plan B. If the Giants start attacking 26 and he just looks like he did last week, you got to have a different plan in place. You got to be ready to execute that plan. Fortunately for the Jaguars, their starting nickel cornerback, Darius Williams, who came over from Los Angeles this offseason, a Jacksonville native, he's played most of his career on the outside. I'd shift him outside, play him where Shaquille Griffin is playing, leave Tyson Campbell on the other side, and insert Trey Herndon into that nickel spot. I'd see how that plays out a bit. There's no guarantee that it'll work, but Williams has played most of his career on the outside. Herndon played at an extremely high level throughout training camp and the preseason in the nickel spot. And he's been at his best in that role throughout his career. And again, will it work if the Jaguars are forced to go there? We don't know. I don't know. I'm not sure. But if Griffin continues to play how he did on Sunday against the Colts, we do know that will not work out, and that will cost you ball games. I like Shaq Griffin the person, and I know Shaq Griffin the player can play at a starting level in this league. He's done it for a long time. But he'll need to get his focus and his confidence back, which he clearly lost. He'll need to be in a much better place mentally if he's to get back to that point where he looks like a quality starter. And I believe he can. But again, I would have that plan ready. I would have plan B ready. And I would probably try to have a plan C ready for this one as well, because you can't keep letting different areas of your team lose games for you. And last week, it was certainly the corners. I think in week 1, the corners had a big role in the loss against Washington. Jaguars have not beaten an NFC opponent since 2018 when they took down, you guessed it, the New York Giants in New York. The Giants are coming in with a 5-1 record. They are on a big-time hot streak, finishing out games, running the ball well, playing some tough defense, converting when they need to. If the Jaguars are going to get off the snide and end this 3-game losing streak, they're going to have to play better in the back end. And if Shaquille Griffin starts getting picked on again, you're going to have to yank him and do something else. As tough as it is to say, a guy that is making a ton of money for the Jaguars, he is in the second year of a 3-year deal. Jaguars have an out following the 2022 season. If he continues to play how he did last week and at other times throughout the early part of this season, there's no way you're going to be able to keep him at that dollar amount. Just no way. I'm pulling for him. I'm hoping Shaquille Griffin can get back to his usual ways of being, a pretty quality cover corner in this league. But plan in place for if he does not do that. That will do it. Thank you so much for tuning in, Duval. Hit me up on Twitter at Jordan DeLugo, Generation Jaguar, at Generation Jag. Please like and subscribe on YouTube. You can also become a channel member here. You can also check out genjag.com, get some new gear. Links in the description below. Have a great rest of your Tuesday, Duval.